Good afternoon, everybody. Please join in. As the panel joins in, we see the number of people have reduced in the room. So just to check, can everybody hear us?
Oh, should we all?
We can
the back?
snuggle.
All right. Chris?
Getting
All
close
right.
enough.
All right. So we get word.
Awesome. Everybody cozy, should I also join up there?
I'm just a little cold.
And the second thing is we'll try not to use the word ChatGPT and see how long we can go
Well, I failed
before
already.
mentioning ChatGPT. And one more thing before we actually begin, like throughout the day, no matter what the session was, whether it was hosting, whether it was problems with, the panel with Rodney and Brittany and everybody, we kept talking about AI, right? So I don't know why are even doing this session because we've probably spoken about everything. And if you're here for the title, are we about to be made redundant? The short answer could probably be no, but we have an amazing panel here who's going to talk more about it with me. And hopefully we'll get you involved. So if you can see on the screen, there's going to be a QR code that we would like you to scan so that you can join in the session with us and provide your inputs and have more conversational style panel discussion. All right, with that, are we good? Everybody in the back can hear everybody in the panel? Sven, do you want to just say like 4 different versions of 1, 2, 3s? All right, never mind. Also, one more thing that I should say, that I was about to give out that fact about 1955, 1956, Dartmouth College, where the term AI was first coined. Thank you for stealing that spotlight, Andy. As the trivia king, I am supposed to do that. But jokes apart, that's what it started the entire thing, right? So like from the heartless Tin Man that we've seen in the movies to Terminator to maybe Jarvis, right? Like AI has come a long way. It started with Alan Turing doing normal logical computations to the term AI being coined in 1955-56 to where probably all LinkedIn posts are at least going through ChatGPT once. We've come a long way. And since, I think it was in this stage last year when Martin was interviewing Anu and we talked about Atlassian intelligence, and that's when I got to know more about it. And last couple of years, we've seen it, used it, multiple places. So it's a very interesting panel that we have 2 marketplace partners. We have somebody from Atlassian and an actual customer / community leader in the panel. And we'll try to see where the conversation goes because as you know now, it's not much rehearsed. All right, so we'll start with, maybe Erica will start with you. We'll do a full round and we'll say, if you could introduce yourself to the panel and what has been your experience with AI?
So my name is Erica Larson. I work for a company called Clearwater Analytics. We build financial software for companies, insurance companies, corporate companies. My experience with AI, I'll be honest, I'm a little bit of a laggard. I don't have a ChatGPT account. I have not used it. I use Atlassian Intelligence. I do use that tool. We have an internally built sort of generative AI tool that we have at our company that is on the back end. I already failed again. I said ChatGPT again. Dang it. On the back end is powered by that, right? So I guess I'm kind of using it. But that's really sort of where my experience is at. And so, I think this is admin and AI, right? Is the, are bots going to take over our jobs? My humble opinion is no. No way. We are absolutely relevant for many reasons. So that's sort of my experience.
All right. I'm Paul Lechner. So I'm at AppFire. So if we haven't bought your app yet, just wait. So yeah, obviously lots of apps across many different categories and places in the ecosystem. So I have been very involved with sort of starting to think about our AI strategy and how we will formulate that for all our products. Personally, I use ChatGPT, on a regular basis.
Okay, we'll do one each. We all 3 mention it once, that's it.
I use it like when I formulate ideas, I might start to build out content and then I use it to improve it, change it, almost like an ideation type session. So I've found it very useful for that. I don't think that it's going to take all our jobs. I think really interesting fact, I was at a Gartner conference last month and they talk about the fact that they think, we're getting about 5% efficiency increase in the short term. longer term, hopefully we'll get those 20 to 30%. But right now we're in I think they call it the trough of disillusionment, where there's still a long way to go before we're in the early innings.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm Christian Reichert. I'm the co-founder of Resolution. So we're a marketplace vendor as well with a variety of apps, just to see in our ad. So at least one of them. And I actually try to use the word I shouldn't mention pretty much every day. And just try to solve a lot of things with it. From my shopping list, talking to my shopping list, which is actually quite cool, over to not having to do board meeting minutes myself anymore, just talk to ChatGPT, and it gives me nice formatted board minutes, fantastic. But what it also allows me is to get a good grasp what it can do and what it can't do, because it's certainly not a tool that is perfect in everything, by far not. So, but I also think it's incredibly useful once you figured out what are the right and good use cases for it, and where it can really help you save a lot of time. So, do I save time on everything? No, absolutely not. I still go down rabbit holes and go and end up nowhere. But I think on balance, by now, I save a lot more time with AI than what it is. And we actually started to deploy or use that internally with some of our processes. We also have a Jira GPT in the ChatGPT store, which is free. So if you want to talk to your Jira, then try that out. It's by far not perfect, but it's there where I actually use it on a regular basis and actually enjoy it.
All right. I'm Sven. I'm from Atlassian. I'm a DevOps advocate. And what I do is I talk a lot to developers, and that's also my experience with AI. I think like GPT-3 was all right, was just like writing code, but GPT-4 is just like another level of how it writes code, how it understands code, how it helps developers understand code. I just tried it out, and I thought 90% of my job, of a developer's job, that's what AI can probably do, right? But the rest 10%, right? This is really what humans need to do, and this is also, when you think about it, how we adopt AI right now. If you just want to stay ahead of the curve, this 10%, right? Concentrate on these 10%, because this is just going to be. This is not what an AI can do, right? Just thinking about how the product will evolve and things like that. The coding part. I'm after GPT-4, I think AI does already a pretty good job, right? Still, the human needs to just look at what AI is doing. Still, I think AI is very far already when it comes to writing code.
We actually start to think of that very often as sort of a perfect intern.
Yeah.
Who knows an awful lot about everything, but you still have to guide it and steer it in a way that it's actually useful for you and helps you deliver some outcomes.
Yeah, that's why we say it's your new teammate, right? Mm-hmm. It is your assistant, basically, right? It's the one that you can interview and say, what should we do next? The AI can write code, say, hey, I just created a pull request with a bug fix that I saw. Should look at the pull request so you can merge it back. It's really like your intern, your assistant that you have that helps you just stay sane, and also helps you just to concentrate on the big things that you need to solve, right? And it's not writing code, even though developers love to write code, but it's not writing code. It is actually the bigger things, the solving the customer's problem. And AI is not good at that at the moment. We still have to just be humans, and that's actually the 10% time we should invest more, right? Expand
and
more.
Never gets annoyed with you asking the same question.
Yeah, so it's interesting that you use the word intern assistant already, right? Because that's what maybe ideally it's supposed to be. But are there instances where you see it overtaking some of it? Obviously one hook of this session itself is Jira admin job going to be out of practice, or will that be something that will be taken away? Because writing a JQL, a complex JQL, not as complex as what Rodney was mentioning in his session, but writing a complex JQL was still something that a Jira admin was looked towards, by the team members. So for a customer, let's say Erica, right? When you are trying to use Jira, how influential does that think bringing down the stress for a Jira?
So I think it was
Sorry, just while you do that, Clara, maybe if you could move on with the presentation, and you'll see there is a question that will come for all of you to take part in. Can you move on to the next one, Clara? There you go. Oh, yeah, the next one. There you go. Now you would be able to respond. Erica, go back.
Yeah, so earlier in one of the panels, I think it was the admin mistakes panel, somebody made a comment and I felt very attacked. It was, oh, you're a product manager and only, for a 2,000 user instance and only 80% of your job needs to be focused on this. I am the only Atlassian admin of a 2,000 user instance. It is painful, right? It is a lot of work and there's so many things that I want to implement that I just don't have time to implement. And so having Atlassian Intelligence help my users figure out how to write a JQL query so I don't have to do that, oh my gosh, it's so helpful, right? So that's where I'm really seeing the benefit in this is the things that they should be able to do themselves and empowering them and teaching them how to fish. So it's not something that it's like I have to do has been really, really amazing. And I think that's one of the things that Atlassian Intelligence is going to continue to really expand upon is as a product admin, it's going to help me focus on truly product admin tasks, not training tasks, and no longer having to do, all of these project admin tasks. And so that's the thing that has really been beneficial for me, even in like Confluence of like having it suggest templates, right? Or, hey, let me summarize this for you, or let me define this term. We have so many random terms at my company as a finance company, right? And so it's like, let me just highlight this word and tell me what it means, right? So I think it is way more of a help for me that I have seen than it's taking away my job. It's helping me actually focus on my job and not do their jobs.
Yeah, I'm so glad somebody wrote Terminator in there with the response and Skynet and also showing up. But yeah, great.
Skynet.
Paul, as a marketplace partner with, as you mentioned, so many apps in the system already, right? How do you keep up with the demands? Because I'm pretty sure sooner than later you're starting to hear, hey, we have to integrate AI. And then integrate AI becomes a way when almost all apps have to be integrated with AI. How do you as a marketplace partner keep the right balance of maybe this does not need AI? Because I feel as people are, custodian might be a big term to use in this scenario, but as somebody who's leading, the marketplace, and Christian, I would love to take your take on this as well. How do you decide what goes to an AI bucket and what stays?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think, back to what Erica was talking about is like, what are the tasks that are simple that you don't want to spend all your time on? So if I think about, say, automations, maybe there's speed in these things that, I don't need to have complex scripting knowledge to do. And so I think it's trying to incorporate AI where it might help us to do things such as summarization or, transform, very simple scripts or automations into AI-enabled apps. And so I think those are the priorities. As I said before, I think right now we're at the 5%. We're not at the 20% yet. And so it's finding those things that are going to just give us more efficiency, sort of at the bottom end. And then ultimately, where do we start to think about where it might go? I think that's in the future where apps could be almost composable. A point where, do I need an automation? Do I need a dashboard? Do I need a workflow? How do I put those together? And maybe I'm building prompts to be able to build those together. And so I think that's still in the future. Right now, we're incorporating AI where really it just gives that efficiency sort of at the bottom end. That's what I would say.
Christian?
Well, lots you already mentioned. Let me add some more. One is, for example, with the Jira GPT that I mentioned, having ultimately a voice interface to Jira, so that you can actually talk to your Jira and have a smart partner on the other side who then understands what it means to the ticket and transforms that into a transition and updated comment, etc. at the same time tearing down language barriers. Yeah, so I can talk, in that same example, I can talk to that Jira GPT in German, and it puts the updates in English. Yeah, it can read a English ticket to me in German or write it down there. Then a little bit what you mentioned, but I also like as the use cases as using AI as your brainstorming partner, because it's great at putting ideas out there. You can ask it for 20 suggestions. That might be 20 total stupid suggestions, but most of the time you still get some idea from it. Or I actually like this and like this. Can you put it together in another way?
Yeah.
And then have that write out something that goes into a Jira ticket, that goes onto a Confluence page, or even put a set of tickets into Jira that actually is the step-by-step plan. Another thing I personally like to do really much is when I'm terminal at my 20 commands to do something, just cut and paste those commands, and it writes me a nice page that I can copy in Confluence as a documentation to it, with comments, with actually context to what I installed, the links to it. So things like that is, I think, very low-hanging fruits and easy-to-use stuff.
That's so awesome that you use that word, because that was something that I'm about to use. Is AI only for the low-hanging fruits? With that, maybe Clara, you could go to the next question. What change, or like that was the question for the audience, like what change do you think AI will bring to the tech ecosystem? But Sven, what I would want to ask you is AI only for that low-hanging fruit, so that it clears some space for an admin like Erica to do some important work, brainstorm with people, or will it climb that ladder up? And Paul mentioned that, yes, we are still only at, let's say, 5% of that. But like, will it climb up to that level? Or will it stay in the low-hanging fruits?
I mean, I think we all know that it will not, right? It will definitely change all our jobs. If you're a Jira admin, a developer, or a marketing person, it will definitely change the jobs. And I just had a conversation with a Jira admin, said, hey, Sven, what do we do if AI takes over my job? I said, what are you doing right now? Yeah, I'm just taking care of the Jira instance. Said, yeah, but what problem are you solving for your people in your company? Is that what are the problems your developers have that are using Jira? And they said, we don't know. We never talked to them. I said, yeah, great, right? So there's actually room for just doing more and having the AI actually do the easy stuff, the low-hanging fruit, if you want to call it like this. But just it would change the way we work. Definitely, everything would change. Yeah.
The audience, I think, kind of agrees. They're not sure, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But AI might mean therapy is also trending. If we could move on to the next question, make this a little more specific, Clara. We'll talk about what do you think AI brings to Atlassian specifically. Clara, can you go on to the next one? Yeah. So in the last couple of years, what specific use case do you think AI could bring into Atlassian ecosystem? While you do that, Sven, coming back to you, so the mission statement, right? Unleash the help unleash the potential of every team. How does that fit in when we talk about something specifically around AI? Do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. What's the potential if AI does parts of your job? I also talked to a company that was actually measuring. They were implementing AI, and they said, okay, it saves us 20% of the time, right? But what they at the same time saw that people, how do they spend the 20%? And that's actually the question that a lot of companies have now that AI increases our productivity. What are we doing with the time that we save? And they saw actually that the people spend now the 20% time more in meetings, right? Not generating anything, right? And that's really a problem. And we need to think about how can we use that time that AI gives us for the better? How can we just help, create more value in that time? Yeah.
So on that, adding on to that, Erica, specifically from you. So when you say you've got more time, is it that now you have to spend more time on prompt engineering, basically? Or do you have to become a babysitter for AI for that? Because everything it does, you have to check. You cannot just trust it to send a report to a customer, right? So you have Jira AI babysitter might be a title.
Absolutely. And I think that's one of the reasons I've been a little bit slow to adopt is because there are times where it's like I'm sitting here trying to figure out what's the right prompt, right? Like all of this advice out there that you read and all that is like you have to refine it and you have to do it like multiple times and you have to figure out exactly what to say to make it give you what you want. And I'm like, okay, well, is this really going to take me less time than actually just going and doing it or going out into the Atlassian community and finding an answer, right? Sure. And that's one of the things that our company's been doing is for our internal built systems, we've been doing a ton of training on prompt engineering because that is really what's going to make AI useful to me and to our team members is learning how to actually ask for what you want and make it pretty detailed. I think it was maybe Brittany in an earlier session talked about like, it's like talking to a kid, right? And I think I've seen that example a few times is like, you have to be really specific in talking to it, like this is exactly what I need and how I want you to say it and how I want you to put it in bullet points or I need this for a PowerPoint presentation. And so I think that the prompt engineering piece is going to be really critical and training your teams on how to do those things so that I'm not a babysitter of this, right? Is really having your teams and empowered on this is how you use it and finding those sorts of situations.
But isn't that also making you a better communicator? At least that's what I found with me. The better I can explain it to AI, the better I can also explain it to other people.
I don't know. It depends, right? So do I want to explain it to a 15-year-old or do I want to explain it to a 30-something, 20-something developer, right? Like those are two very different things. And so, I saw some article that was talking about, prompt engineering, and it was talking about they're actually looking for people with journalism and creative writing degrees, which that is, I have an undergrad in creative writing, because they want to find people who can communicate well with AI to make it better, right? And so I think it may help, but yeah, I don't know.
We don't always have to agree.
I'm like, I don't want to communicate with a 15-year-old. I already communicate with a 13-year-old, and it's just like, I don't understand the words that you're saying.
Okay, so I asked you, does it make you a better mom?
Not a mom, but nieces and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, if I understand them actually, and if I can speak their language, I am a cooler aunt. So that's true.
So the simplicity and the complexity graph is directly proportional in what I'm hearing, right? The more simple it becomes, the more complex the problems might be. In a world like that, how do Atlassian keep a check on things do not creep into Atlassian marketplace that can probably be harmful, let's say for a customer's environment? How does Atlassian keep a check on that then? Or is that not something which is done yet, but probably something?
Yeah, I think I need to talk to the marketplace team. I don't know, to be honest. But we have actually high security standards about what we let AI do. And there's a whole, and we've opened it up. I don't know if you saw that. There's a template you can download that everyone has to fill out when it does something with AI to just like make sure we don't do any harm with the data that we have from our customers. I mean, to be honest, I don't know about the marketplace vendors, but I would love if they do the same things. Just like make sure that we treat the data well from our customers. And I guess there's something in place, but I don't know. So.
Anand? We'll figure it out.
We just like do whatever we want.
All right. Paul, specifically from, again, somebody who mentioned the Gartner survey, right? By the way, I had not seen that survey until you had mentioned. Then I went back and read about it. It's crazy that we are saying we're still using only 5% of what it could be. But what about the human side of it, right? Like, for example, do you think as AI grows, the expectation is things become simpler for a Jira admin? And the most common pitch is when your, repetitive tasks are being done by AI, you use that time to, let's say, upskill, right? Do you think that is what is happening right now or will? Or is that time, will that be used as a tool to cut jobs? That's maybe what I'm trying to ask.
Yeah, it's a great question. I think, back to what you were saying about humans in the loop. That's sort of that's actually a framework, as humans in the loop around AI technology is ensuring that, if we have different prompts, like somebody's going to check it out. Somebody's going to be the babysitter. But actually to ensure quality, so ensure that we don't have hallucinations. So I think, admin's jobs may evolve. Maybe, we're handling all of the spaghetti that all these prompts create. If you think about sort of right now, we have an input. I want to create an automation from A to B, and I have steps between. Right now, we know that if we do that, that's going to be the same every time. But okay, if I do a prompt, that prompt might be different. Imagine that you ask a prompt to do something, you ask it, you're all going to get different output. And so how do you manage all that complexity? And so I think we can't ever take humans out of the equation. Maybe that evolves. Maybe your job evolves more to understanding that complexity. Maybe it's understanding governance. Maybe it's understanding policy. I think we'll never take humans out of the equation. I think back to what is the purpose? What is the purpose? Are we trying to create more efficiency, or are we trying to create better output, better teams, better developers? And I think you need to start with the human mind.
Interesting. One more thing that I was thinking whenever we talk about AI is, right now, whenever we talk about, specifically in the Atlassian ecosystem, we talk about Jira, we talk about Confluence, a little bit about Trello we've started to do, right? Do you see it coming into the other products, like specifically, let's say, talk about Bitbucket, right? Let's talk about other products, or going into the process side of it, because we've all the panelists today have spoken about tools, process, and people, right? Tools, yes, it's there. Do you see it creeping into something like Team Playbook, right, for that matter? Or like, how does process change? Do you feel an agile AI is right around the corner, where a new methodology will come into picture, where we'll no more talking about SAFe or agile or waterfall, a new methodology altogether, a new process framework altogether will come into picture? Christian and Sven, I would love to hear your take on this as well.
Well, probably all of the above. Yeah, I think, Bitbucket is, I think, one of the obvious things to put it in. Improve your pull requests or your summaries when you commit messages. That's something that AI probably can do pretty well. Writing test cases or expanding on test cases. Looking for security issues. So a lot of things that can be trained relatively or fine-tuned relatively specifically is a good use case. I could also think of, if you look towards Compass, how things work together, are dependent on each other. I think that's a great use case. Where you have a lot of that data, then have AI distill it down or ask specific questions, and you don't have a lot of hallucinations and issues you have in other areas. That's a great use case for that. So I think, yes, it will go into a lot of products. But since you mentioned Agile, I could also see that you have your Agile coach or someone who helps you make sense of a lot of data that is in Jira or some of the other tools, and highlights you where you're falling down or what you're doing well. Because again, that's another use case where AI can be very good if you have lots of data, trying to find patterns and interpreting those patterns to something it was trained with. So I think it's going to be in almost all products. It doesn't necessarily take over all products, but there will be areas where AI can add benefits.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Sven?
I can't make any future statements about what we are doing. But
so no Scrum Master should be afraid in the room right now.
Yeah, so there's one thing. So what tools will we add AI to, or what AI? We see it more as a platform at Atlassian. Right? We're building AI into the platform, and of course, all kinds of tools makes for some tools, for some products it makes more sense. For other products, makes not so much sense, or not yet. But we're just like creating this teamwork graph inside our model. That knows just like how you work together with other teams. I think that's just like one thing that every product can benefit from. So just like wait until Wednesday morning when we announce something in the keynote. So super interesting there. And
Nice.
How would change methodologies? So I think we're just like starting imagining what AI can do for us and how it will change teamwork in general. So I already heard the theory of just like you just like work just like in a two-person team with an AI mate or AI teammate, and the AI teammate is doing, of course, all the programming, and the two-person teams are just like checking and building more on the product side of things, and then you have something like a super team around it that is taking care of the product. But do we really need do we really need sprints anymore if we have AI? I don't know. Maybe not, because we figure faster out what's important, because the AI can figure out, okay, this feature is now more important than that feature, right? And we don't need a whole sprint to plan it out, so we can just like take it from task to task. What's the most important thing? That could be something that how we work together. I hope we don't miss the human side of things. That's also we need to take care of. If I'm just working with one person in a team and with an AI mate, I also want other contact points and connection points and humans and.
You mean the AI therapist?
Yeah, all right.
AI therapist, yeah.
And that,
I used to work with a team who used to have this, like, seriously, not kidding. They used to have this statement in the team: what would our Scrum Master do? Right? And like anytime they would say, all right, this is a problem, do we keep this feature in, you keep this out? And they, even though the Scrum Master was not like very influential, it was a legacy thing that was carried in that team, they would say, what would our Scrum Master do? And like whatever is the best approach, they would choose it. I figured out, like, over a period of time that will change. What would AI do? Right? And that will probably nitpick which feature needs to be, pushed out for the customer first. But then again, there needs to be a lot of check on it, right? Like, how do you do that? With that, maybe, Clara, we could go to the next question, which is the biggest questions of it. Oh, is this the first time we're doing it? Yes. What is the best AI in the Atlassian use case that you would have seen? Virtual agents, text summarizer, conversational JQL, getting AI to answers. I'll open it up for all four panelists. What do you think? Or if there is a fifth one that I did not put in there.
I mean, I think the idea of virtual agents is probably the best use case. Now, our company uses a third party right now, and I keep telling them that we can save money. Anyway, but I think, last year when they announced, the changing your tone, I think I was sitting in the front row and I laughed so hard. I was just like, that is amazing. I know so many developers who need this. Or just not just developers, sorry. Myself, maybe sometimes. Right, and so I think that's something where I hope that it makes it more of a human experience, right? We all hate chatbots, right? I don't know if anybody who really likes working with a chatbot, right? You call in or whatever it is, and you're like hitting the number and being like, nope, 0, please, I want to talk to a human, right? If AI can make these virtual agents be more human, right, and have a better response, I think that's really where the best potential is at. I think right now, as far as like usage and what my team members and things are using, is definitely the JQL, the summarizing, things like that on Confluence, I think are much more used at this point in time. But as I said, we don't use the virtual agents yet.
Okay. Paul?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it is a combination of, look here, having the AI get answers as well as the Confluence use case that you spoke to.
Yeah.
I think when we start to put data sources together, we can start to shortcut a lot of the things that we do. So, I mean, I just always think about the fact that I rewrite multiple things, multiple slide decks, multiple Confluence pages. So I'm gathering data. I have people that gather data. I have there's so many different, there's so much repetition. And so if I can start writing a page, and it knows, it's aware of a source of data that's already been used before.
Yeah.
I think that's where we can start to build real efficiencies.
Right.
And I you always say, like, what do you do with your time? Now, hopefully we can think more. I think we think enough.
Yeah, you use soft skills, right?
Yeah,
like that's something AI I don't think can replace.
I think the depth of deep thinking, which is something that we don't do a lot of in our age of distraction is something where, AI can help free us up.
We talk about neural networks, we don't talk about human networks. All right, Christian.
Well, from those use cases, my favorite is ask AI and get answers. We don't use virtual agents either because we're usually very, very tech or very, our support cases tend to be extremely technical. And I've seen virtual agents and those things much better on deflecting a lot of similar issues. So if you have travel agencies, get always the same questions, or where's my package delivery at that I think be great use cases for virtual agents. So ask AI, and based on the knowledge that's either in Jira or Confluence, get a decent answer or the link to the different sources I can follow up on. Because most of the time I remember I read that somewhere, and you probably know that feeling. And then I can search and spend a couple of minutes searching, that's great, but if AI can give me the answer I'm looking for straight away and also point to the page where I originally read it.
If you can write the right prompt.
Yeah.
If you write the right prompt.
That saves me a lot of time, and that's where I use tools like, for example, Perplexity as well, instead of Google Search nowadays.
Yeah.
I think best AI use case would be for me virtual agents. For JSM at the moment, let's see what things coming out soon. But if I think about Ask AI, that's probably my personal best use case. So, for example, we just like a few years ago, not so long ago, we added a dark mode to Jira, and so we have a big Confluence instance, and everything is in Confluence, but it's hard to find, right? Because there's so much in Confluence that it's really hard to just find. And I just asked the AI what do customers think about dark mode in Jira, or the dark theme in Jira? And it gave me a summarizing. Says, they think dark mode is too dark. So we need that was actually the answer from AI, right? And then pointed me to the page. But think about it: how long would I have taken to just find that information? Where is the research group within Atlassian, the 10,000 people organization that I have to ping? Great, we have the info in Confluence, but how long would I take just to find through the spaces somewhere the info, or just try to use Confluence search? We all know that it's hard to just find the right answer there, but AI gave me the right page and the right answer in just seconds, and that's a great thing. I think this is really, really great. So for us, just or for me, Ask AI is the best thing that has happened to Confluence.
You could contextualize it. You could say, okay, what percentage of people said that from Germany?
Yeah. Oh, well, basically you can, yeah.
All right, I have the fantasy of you announcing gray mode for Germans.
Okay, Clara, if you could move to the next question. Clara? Yeah, so winding it up in the next couple of minutes, 4 minutes we have officially, or 3 minutes I believe. Will the AI eliminate the Jira admin job? Simple yes or no question. Or otherwise, there are other options as well. Somewhat is an option. Yes is an option as well. Erica?
I'm going to go...
So let me specify the question a little bit more. Would Jira admin title be destroyed and something else will take over?
Ooh, well, I've never had the Jira admin title. I've had Scrum Master, I've had Process Engineer, I've had Product Manager, now I'm Business Relationship Manager or something ridiculously long.
But we've all managed and done Jira admin.
Right.
We're all Jira guys.
Yes, yeah. So, no, I don't think so. I think you need the human in the loop. You need that person talking to your stakeholders and what are the requirements? What is the problem you're actually trying to solve? Rodney talked about, the triangle, right? You need people, process, and tools, right? I think it is going to enhance your job. And I think the companies that are eliminating the job are making a mistake. And I think we're seeing that as well. These companies that are laying off all of these people because, AI can do it. Okay, now you've lost sort of your entry-level people who should be training, and then you want them to move up the ladder and know your company. If you don't have those people coming in to know your company and know your problems, you're really going to struggle with that recruiting and that promotion within. And I think you're just going to run into more problems rather than, you said, how are you going to free up your time with this extra 20% or whatever, right? Like, ideally, you are doing training. Ideally, you are, being more efficient and working on more things and whatnot. So if you are eliminating jobs, I think you're making a mistake.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said before, I think there will always be humans in the loop. You always want somebody to go to.
Sure.
Like even if you go to your AI to ask questions or you're trying to get it to do things, who do you go to when it's not giving you the answer that you want? So I don't think that will ever change. I think sort of the context of the job could change. Like I said, maybe that's, managing the spaghetti, maybe it's the guardrails, maybe it's the policy. Maybe it's just understanding the business in a way and that maybe you don't get contextually through AI. So I don't think it'll ever go away. It may change, it'll evolve. And I think that's how technology evolves our jobs.
Yes.
Yep.
Question. There.
Yeah.
No worries. I'm in a somewhat camp. So I think we can all agree it's going to change the job and make it easier in some respects, give you more time to do other things that you might not be doing today. But I also think that today we already see smaller instances not having Jira admins, more of a power user kind of setup. And I think that's where AI, or if the product gets easier by having AI behind it, that it can interpret the intention of that power user, that there will be an additional set of instances that don't need a full-time or even part-time admin.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Sven?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all agree somewhat. But yeah, I mean, AI is solving things that a Jira admin shouldn't have been done in the first place, right? Just writing JQL statements, really? Why do we need humans for that? Getting the data out of Jira, it's freaking hard, right? And why can't not everyone do that?
Yeah.
So that shouldn't have been a job in the first place. Maybe we call it now Jira admin. Maybe the Jira admin job shouldn't have been there in the first place. Should have been just like helping people to get better at their job, to just like get the right processes in place. Is that the right process? Let's discuss that with the person that is asking for this process. Should we put it in? That is actually the job of I wouldn't call it Jira admin, but yeah, whatever we call this job title. So I would say, yeah, the Jira admin job will be eliminated. It will be just become something else.
Jira
Evolve.
maybe let's see.
Whatever. Awesome. With that, thank you so much for listening in, everybody. Clara, do we have another question? Otherwise, we don't. Oh, we have a question in the audience.
How comfortable would you feel the AI ontology want to do next?
Yeah, can you go to the next slide, Clara? Yeah, hopefully future overlords will not mind us having this conversation. But does anybody want to take the question?
Well, it's a 15-year-old, so I don't know what 15-year-olds to do next.
Nice. All right. If there's nothing else, thank you, everybody. We'll respect the time exactly on point. We'll finish. Thank you.